I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times today. Don't go around tonight, but it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise.
Start it up.
I see the bad moon rising.
Yes, folks, I see the bad moon rising. I am seeing how our alternative media is being attacked. Even their families are being trolled, bullied. I mean, if you go to Mike Soror's Strikes Back thing that I just got off of a few hours ago, it's heartfelt there. Now, I found that I'm spending a lot of time, and we can't spend too much time because people start getting, their attention span kind of goes down. So I'm going to try to go fast. Where we left off the last video was all the ranchers in the Silvies Plains were flooded out, and the government bought their land. The Fish and Wildlife Refuge, Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Mount Here Wildlife Refuge basically grabbed a hold of those lands at a reduced price from what they really were worth, because they pretty much destroyed the people's livelihood. They didn't care. Now, by the 1980s, the Hammonds were one of the very few ranchers who still owned private property adjacent to the refuge. Honestly, they stood tough. They worked. They did their best. It's like you're getting downsized on at your workplace, and you're just working hard to keep things going. You cut down what type of food you eat so you can save up a little bit of money. You cut down on extra expenses like going to football games or going to watch your favorite basketball games, or even cutting down on Netflix or whatever. They were cutting down so they could survive. Susie Hammond, in an effort to make sense of what was going on, began compiling facts about the refuge in a hidden public record. Now, it was public, but it was put pretty much down in the basement or underneath a whole bunch of piles of paperwork that most people would have just not even seen it, but it was public. So they could say, oh yeah, it's public. You just had to go all the way to this spot to be able to find it. It's how they slip things through. She found a study done by the Fish and Wildlife Service in 1975. The study showed the no-use policies of the Fish and Wildlife Service on the refuge were causing the wildlife to leave the refuge and move to private property. The last video I talked about how they did that. They let it grow. They didn't keep it trimmed or anything like that. And so the wildlife would go to a place that they didn't feel threatened by possible predators being in the wolf grass. Well, look at that. There was a study about that. And it turned out to be true that the more and more of the wildlife were going to private property, because on the refuge, our Bureau of Land Management didn't manage a damn thing. They just let it grow. Gee, what were they getting paid for? We'll find out more about that in the future. I'm going to try to keep this under 8 minutes. It'll probably go a little bit longer, but you know what? We're going to try. Uh, the study showed the private property adjacent to the Mount Here Wildlife Refuge produced 4 times more ducks and geese than the refuge. Basically, private property that is well kept, that the ranchers knew how to handle the property well, were getting 4 times the amount of ducks and geese on that land than the refuge was able to get. I mean, come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why are they getting more whenever the refuge is supposed to be their safe haven. The study also showed the migrating birds were 13 times more likely to land on private property than on the refuge. I mean, come on, that's 13 times more likely. That's basically saying, I'm going to go to this restaurant way more than this restaurant because this restaurant has better food and I feel safer than this restaurant that's over there in a bad neighborhood that I'm afraid every time I hear a gunshot that it might be shooting at me. This is what the animals feel like because they don't hear gunshots. They know that the predators are hiding in the grass. So they'll go to a place that they can see around them easier. When Susie brought this to the attention of the Fish and Wildlife Service and refuge personnel, her and her family became subjects of a long train of abuses and corruptions. Basically, she was trying to explain to them, hey, you guys aren't getting that many animals and stuff because of this. This study proves it. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Bureau of Land Management basically said, oh, we know, but now that you know, we're going to make you shut up. Just like they did with Pete Santilli because he got too close to the corruption here in Burns. In the early 1990s, the Hammonds filed on a livestock water source and obtained a deed for the water right from the state of Oregon. The state of Oregon gave them a deed to the water rights. They did it legally, completely legal. When the Bureau of Land Management and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service found out the Hammonds obtained new water rights near the Mount Here Wildlife Refuge, they were agitated and became belligerent and vindictive towards the Hammonds. Basically, oh, you did things legally and didn't try to go through us, you went above us, we're going to start becoming bullies towards you. You didn't go through us, you didn't ask for you didn't pay us protection money, you went to the police instead and had the police protect you instead of us gangsters protect you. Even though we're the ones destroying you, we want you to pay us money so we won't destroy you. That's basically how it's happening here. So they got belligerent and vindictive towards the Hammonds. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service challenged the Hammonds' right to water in an Oregon State Circuit Court. The Hammonds did it legally. They went through the proper channels, avoiding the Bureau of Land Management and the Fish and Wildlife Service. And all of a sudden, the Fish and Wildlife Service decided, we're going to do it. We're going to go to the court over this. You are supposed to pay us your protection money. Yeah, see, you went above our heads, see. We're gonna get you, see. That's pretty much how it went. Old gangster style type of attitude. The court found the Hammonds legally obtained rights to the water in accordance to the state law, and therefore the use of the water belongs to the Hammonds. They took them to court, and the court said, hey, they obtained it legally. You guys don't have a case. Sorry, BLM. Sorry, Fish and Wildlife Service. You guys don't have a case. You guys are butthurt. You guys are sore, are complaining because they didn't go through you and give you your little extra money. In August of 1994, the BLM and the Fish and Wildlife Service illegally illegally, against the law, began building fences around the Hammond's water source. And as I explained the last video, the water source is the lifeblood here. The animals need it, the livestock need it, the crops need it. And the BLM, well, we're not going to let you get into your shop now because you won't pay us the protection money. See? Yeah. They basically said, oh, we're going to cut you off. Even though it is yours, we're still going to put a fence around it. Owning the water rights and knowing that their cattle relied on that water source daily, the Hammonds tried to stop the building of the fence. The BLM and Fish and Wildlife Service called the Harney County Sheriff Department and had Dwight Hammond, the father, arrested and charged with disturbing and interfering with federal officials or federal contractors, 2 counts each a felony. Now, the BLM and Fish and Wildlife Service were illegally putting that fence there, and whenever they tried to stop them, they got arrested for it. The Hammonds got arrested for it, not the BLM and Fish and Wildlife Service. Why? Because they got the government backing. They are an unconstitutional organization, and they've got friends in high places. Dwight spent one night in the Deschutes County Jail in Bend, not here in Harney County. He went a full 2.5 to 3 hours away from his home and spent a night in jail. And a second night behind bars in Portland. That's a 6-hour drive from Burns. That's a long ways away, guys. They took him way far away from his home because he was trying to put a stop to illegal sorry, I'm trying to think of the proper word without being vulgar. Illegal activities by an unconstitutional organization. He was then hauled before a federal magistrate because this is disturbing or interfering with federal officials or federal contracts. Those are felonies. And he was released without bail. Basically, this is just an idiot charge. Go ahead and go home. We'll have the hearing and everything later, but you don't need to post bail because you'll be here. They were trying to be nice to him, the courts, but the Bureau of Land Management and the Fish and Wildlife Service, gee, they're really sore and they're complaining, and basically they don't like that they got taken out of the loop. A hearing on the charges was postponed and the federal judge never set another date. Basically, the judge finally was like, I'm looking through this and there's no case here. The federal judge said, there's no case here. Think on that. That was a decent, honest judge at that time. Basically, it's like somebody accused you of stealing their phone. They called the police on their phone and then said, yeah, you see this phone here? That person stole it. The police arrest you. You go up in front of a judge and you explain to him, they called the police on the phone about me stealing that phone. And there's none of my fingerprints on that phone at all. There's no reason to ever think that I had that in my possession. And the judge is like, yeah, you're right. You're free to go. That's basically what happened. Now I'm going to cut off the show here, and I'm going to continue on with another video, probably tomorrow. And honestly, guys, I'll even put a link of this place here, the what I'm reading here. This is as close as I can find to the full-on truth. The truth they don't want you to know. Remember, you are an American citizen. You have every right to know the truth. Listen to Chris Ann Hall about the Constitution. Listen to old Pete Santilli shows. Listen to Deb and what's happening with her from the Pete Santilli show. Listen to Mike Soror. Listen to Professor Doom. Listen to Spitfire Sentinel. And, well, you're already listening to me. But I'm trying to give you guys the basics so you can actually open your mind and learn what is happening here in Burns, Oregon, in Harney County, and in many other counties throughout the country. Our ranchers, the backbone of our country, the ones that give us food, the ones that give us sustenance, the ones that give us leather and cotton and and wool and everything like that, are under attack because they want lithium, uranium. They want all the minerals underneath our land, private owned land, and they're going to do everything they can to get you to move out and sell to them so they have the land and they have the rights to that. And once they're done with it, once they're done with that land, they'll probably just leave it. Once they've stripped it of anything viable, they'll just leave it, let it overgrow, and no wildlife will go there because plants can't grow in a mined area that has been strip mined. And that's what they're going to want to do. Think on it, guys. In Oregon, almost half of the state of Oregon is unconstitutionally owned by the Fish and Wildlife Service and by the Bureau of Land Management. And Oregon is a beautiful place. I don't want to see it destroyed. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you later.